Okay, everybody, I'm at Joe's here, so I still got the brush hog on. But as you can see, this rim is, I mean, I can almost stick my finger in there. But right here, the crack starts, and you can see it up in here, and it goes all the way around. And I'll show you better because looking at this camera, it looks like it's kind of hard to see, but there you go. See the crack? It goes all the way around, and then as you drive around, the pressure on this, your tire bulges out, and then it pushes. But it rots out right around the valve stem because of a little bit of calcium leaking. So I already jacked this thing up. It's been raining. I don't know if you could tell, but it's been raining. So the ground's really soft, and so I use a nice big block that does two things. It gets the jack up higher, and it also gives it a much bigger footprint so it doesn't want to sink into the ground as easy. I have this rim, see now it sank just a little bit. But I have this up off the ground just enough that I can move the rim. You don't really want it off too far because these things are not light. See, that's all I really want. Now I let most of the air out of this yesterday because of the tube, or the tube blowing out of the rim. But so how you do this is you have this special tool, and that goes in your up into your Schrader valve, and you just spin that out. Actually see some of the water in there. That I think is because it rained last night and I put a little air in this tire, because I actually let too much out and it went flat. I couldn't unload it. But now these things are pretty small. I mean, so you always want to try and keep them somewhere where you can find them. While that's going on, this is a double bevel rim. And what it is it's got these little clamp units, and you take these bolts out, and then these come off, and then that rim will come off pretty easily. Most of these you shouldn't actually have to mess with on the backside, because they have, see, like that one doesn't have it, neither does that one. That one has that little clamp, there's a clamp there, there's one there. And what those do is they swing around so you don't need a wrench. But I'm gonna set this up over here, and I'm gonna work on getting this rim off. Okay, so I'll show you this while I got it out. This here, there's a few different brands. This is a Rapid Box. It's one of the cheap ones. It's made by Powerbuilt. You can get them on Summit Racing, Walmart, eBay. This one was like 200 bucks, I think. But the magic is inside. Now, I want to get a Montezuma. They're a little bit bigger. You can store more in here. The problem is, like I said a little earlier, I like to be prepared for everything. This box ain't big enough to be prepared for everything. I mean, ideally for myself, I need a utility body, but can't tow a gooseneck with a utility body. Okay, now that's the right size for that one. All right. Now I know somebody's gonna cry that I'm using a chrome socket. I'm not worried about it. I've never, if they break, they usually just split. I've never had one explode. I've never heard of anybody exploding one. If it breaks, it is what it is. It's a Husky socket. I'll go get another one. Now, the one thing that is an issue, and it's just, it is what it is it's a 12 point. 6 points are much better for things like this, but sometimes you just work with what you got. Okay, so for a little comparison, which most of you guys know this, but hopefully as the channel grows, there's gonna be people that you know, watch and learn some things. You can see how much thicker that is Now granted, this is a older Husky socket, but it is in fact a Husky, and so is this one. But just by the nature of the socket, you can see just how much more meat there is. But also, right here, this is the wrong size, but actually, there's the right size. But right here, you only engage on the corners, as opposed to that socket, how it engages everywhere. And it gives you a much more positive bite on whatever you're taking off. You know, to be honest, I expected these all to break. I'm gonna replace them anyway, but who knows how old these things are. Those could be from, this is a 58, for all I know, those are 58s. So, we'll take, let me go grab my hammer off the trailer, and it's kind of still raining a little bit, so let me close my toolbox here. These things are totally waterproof. They get condensation in them, but okay. Now, just for the purpose of showing you guys something. So if you want to save a bolt like this, what you do is you thread your nut on here. Now, honestly, these ones don't matter. Those I'm keeping because they're all newer, and that one's already a new one. These three old ones, I'm putting new ones in, but see, and you just, well, to be honest, I'm not sure why that's not coming apart. But anyway, what that does is it keeps the end of this bolt from getting mushroomed over if you're going to reuse it. I may not even have to take all these off. I've never done one of these before, so you guys are kind of seeing me learn in the process. But we'll take that guy off. You got to be careful around this stuff too, because that's heavy. If it falls on you, it's gonna hurt. But we'll take this guy off, take that guy off. Those ones, I think you can drive out. They may be threaded in here, I don't know. Once I get the rim off, I'll figure that out. But so we'll put it under here. Yep, see that? Comes right off. You grab this guy, put that over here. That's leaning back, so I'm okay. Okay, so then what we'll do here is we'll put this guy in there, take that one. Okay, now we're kind of out of there. Alright, now we're pretty much off. Get this out of the way. Okay, so now we're off the tractor. Roll it out of the way here. Get it. Now you can see a little bit better just what kind of shape that rim is in. So what you can do here now is you see all these little rust chunks. You're gonna have to peel them off, but basically what you want to do is, now if you can, obviously, is try and get as much air out of here as you possibly can, which isn't gonna work. But I can still hear some liquid in that. I think it's just water, but it could be calcium. I don't know. There's not much left in there, so I can show you why these aren't coming out. But see how that's all corroded away right there? That's why you want to get new bolts. I'm gonna get a bigger hammer and I'll knock them out because they don't thread into this. They're just rusted in there tight. I need a bigger hammer anyway. But that's one of the bolts right there. See how bad that one's corroded? Right there. But, okay, so I'm gonna go find a big sledgehammer.
Alright, let me set you guys up here. This is just gonna be a whole lot of feet. I'm gonna start here in the spot that's already broke. Because it's probably the easiest spot to deal with. Sometimes a little tension like that goes a long way if you got another guy to help you. Okay, there we go. We're starting to separate now. Perfect. Once you get one spot, it goes easy the rest of the way.
Tie our way around this rim. It's actually right there. You can see some of that calcium coming out now. I believe that's calcium. I ain't gonna touch it because if you do, you get that stuff on you, it burns. They use it for keeping salt, melting ice in the winter. They mix it with water in here because that keeps the water from freezing. Like most guys now. That's heavy, but there's called rim guard, which I believe is beet juice. That doesn't freeze, and it's actually heavier than water. You don't want to just put water in there unless you live anywhere in an area where it's not going to freeze. But some guys will mix antifreeze with it, which isn't great because if you puncture your tire, you're leaving toxic antifreeze, which honestly, not a whole lot better than calcium. Because anything, if that was out there on the grass, calcium would kill that grass right away. Beet juice I don't think hurts anything. Windshield washer fluid's another option. Guys use that. RV antifreeze is a good option because that is non-toxic. So you can use that and you don't have to worry about it hurting anything that may or may not drink it. I don't think it hurts the grass either. But that's one of those things you want to keep in mind if you're going with weighted tires. Weighted tires are cool if you're only going to use it for farm work or whatever, yard work, whatever have you. If you're going to get into tractor pulling now, and it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, the lighter you can keep your tractor, the better off you are, because so I load them up and they weigh, say, 400 pounds a piece. I'm stuck with 400 pounds back here. What do I do whenever the front comes up and I can't go up and weight? So if you keep it loose, lets you put the weight where you need it to best suit you when you're pulling. That's also competition though. If you're pulling logs and you need 400 pounds on the rear and it don't matter what you weigh, go for it. All right, let me get back to that. Try and get that thing off, and then I'll show you how to spoon that thing off the rim. And then I got to clean up the other rim a little bit with the wire wheel, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you a little bit different way, because hammer option, not working so great. So what you want to do is you put your board pretty close to that. You don't want it to be right on there. I'll be honest, I just don't have it in me to monkey this thing over there, and I'm not sure it's even going to fit. Now you could use your truck for this, but I honestly think because I got the weight of the truck and the trailer right here, plus the frame of the trailer will kind of help keep that from flipping up. But what you do is you ride your weight right up onto that. By the time you get to there, it's pushing down on there so hard it usually pops it. Sometimes you got to get out and hit it with a hammer, which is fine. So for what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to lock these hubs because it's a little bit muddy and I really don't feel like getting stuck. But lock these hubs in. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set you guys up right there on my brush hog. And I'll hopefully this works out as good as it usually does for me. Usually I do this on like truck rims, so it's not that big a deal, but actually I'm wondering, maybe I'll set you up a little bit closer here. Okay, so obviously what just happened there was this didn't actually bite down here, which it's not gonna, it's a trailer tire. So it shoved it. So what you do in that case is you just give it something to ride up on so it's not so much of a jump. And it may do it again, I'm gonna find out here, but I'm just kind of working with what I got right now. But okay, so this is the method. You put your base plate right here on the bead. I'd like to have a little bit better purchase, but I think this will work just fine. I'll keep an eye on it. You got to watch what you're doing with these. This thing can come out of there and knock you out, kill you. You never know. So basically, all you got to do is just work this thing until you get a bunch of pressure. And what that's going to do is it starts putting pressure down on that bead. And to my knowledge, there is not a tire machine around that does this. I've only ever seen tractor tires and things of this size done by hand, so I don't think there's a tire machine. And I'll be honest, if there is, I don't know if I want to meet the guy that's got the goods to pick this damn rim up and throw it up on top of the machine like that, because this thing's friggin' heavy. See how it keeps spreading down there? Yeah. Okay guys, got that bead to pop. It's all packed with dirt because it was laying there. I used a farm jack. I took a piece of pipe and used it. It worked fine. That worked perfect. I had plenty of stroke on there. I got it and put a lot of load on the tire and then beat the hell out of it with a hammer. So now I'm going to start spooning that off. And when I say spooning that off, these are called tire spoons. They make different types. These are just small ones from Tractor Supply. This one's got that little curved end. And this one's got an end. It's kind of a funky shaped one. That's made to hook on your rim and flip your tire out. And I'll show some of that a little bit here. I'm gonna clean my rim up here. Not perfect. I'm not gonna paint it. Rest of that tractor ain't painted. Why bother? It'll be okay. One day I'd like to restore this tractor, but I'm gonna get this out of my way for right now. And I'm gonna start doing that. There's a little bit more to it than just, once you pry it off, you got to remember which way it came. You got to pay attention to which side of this rim your valve stem is on, because it's directional. So if your valve stem was on this side and your tread's pointing that way, you want to make sure that you have that rim laying the same way. You just got to make sure your tread's going the right way, because if not, then you're going to have a tire pointing the wrong way, and you're not going to be really all that happy about it. You might be able to switch these rims around, being that they're double bevel. It doesn't look like there's an offset, but sometimes you can't get that lucky, so you just got to pay attention when you're doing it. So I'm going to start spooning this off right now, and you got to be careful when you do this so you don't pinch your tube if you're going to try and reuse the tube like I'm going to do. That's a good junk spoon right there. Okay, so got these bars. Borrowed them from a buddy of mine. Now I'm gonna work on prying that off. I'm not gonna film all that because you kind of get the idea. It's a lot of work, and I'm kind of getting tired here. So I'm gonna start doing that, and I'll kind of show you my progress as I get to it. Okay, so I got it. Those big bars made all the difference in the world. This tube, that was a bit of a pain to get out because the rust kind of sticks it fast. It almost gets glued on, but there's still some calcium in that rim, and it's a heavy old girl. So I'm gonna take that out of there and figure out where to put that thing so I can drain the rest of that out without hurting anything. And I'm gonna finish popping that off. And then to clean up any rust that sticks to this rim, which actually isn't too bad. I mean, that got chewed up a little, but it is what it is. It's a bead. We don't need that to seal. But I'll take a wire brush on a drill and just knock any rust off the rim or the tire bead, and that should that'll get me started. And then whenever I get around to it, I'll get it put on that rim, and maybe I'll film some of that depending on how I feel. But right now I'm just getting into a mood of I want it done and I don't care about the camera, so let's see what happens. Okay, so the valve stem went out on this rim, so what I'm going to do is lay the valve stem up, as you can see right there, put it up, and then you're going to lube this tire. And then because you want the valve stem to be on the outside, this would be the side that goes on first. So we'll take a little lube, spray around here, we'll work that baby on the rim. Alright, so that was the easy part. It's on there. Now I gotta go get the tube, jam that in there. That ain't fun. And put this bead back on, and I can pump it up. Yep, I'm still right. Always second guess because it ain't fun taking these off a second time. So I'm gonna throw the tube in here, and I'm not filming the rest because I'm done with it at this point. So I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done completely. Okay, so after a few hours of fighting this damn thing, finally surrendered. So, alright, one of the last steps is I'm gonna roll this down in the garage for it. But right now, I think I'm gonna back my truck up and I'm gonna stretch the air hose out and put just enough air in this thing that this tube doesn't want to twist when you're driving, because it'll fall out and twist itself around in there, and then I gotta break it back off the rim, and I'm just not in the mood to deal with any of that nonsense today. So I'll put, I don't know, a couple pounds of air in there and just pull this baby up. It'll I think it'll find itself in here once I get it. Anyway, so I'm not going to bother filming that because everybody here knows how to put air in a tire. And if you don't, there's channels for that. So I'm going to, I'll film putting it back on, but I'm waiting until Joe gets here because I just don't have it in me to pick this thing up. It's heavy. And after fighting this thing for a couple hours, I'm pretty whooped, not going to lie. So, alright, I'll pick that up in a minute, and that'll be awesome. Hey guys, so this video is obviously pretty old. It's February now. I don't know, I don't even remember when I did this. August maybe. It's definitely in the summer. I got a little bit short in the end of this video with you know, the filming and stuff, probably because I was running out of camera, but most of it was I was just getting aggravated. This thing, it fought me all day. It was cold and rainy that day. I bent my tire spoons. I had to drive down and borrow some from my buddy, and thank goodness that worked out. But I got that tire back on and it worked. Works awesome. The rim's still on there. It's been on there ever since. Wasn't as nice as I would have liked for how much I paid for it, because for another $30-40 I could have bought a brand new rim, but the rim that I put on there matches the tractor, so whatever. it's on there though. Works good, like I said. Joe showed up after I was done here, and he helped me put that thing back on. I put all new bolts in the bevel clamps, and I had, even after I stopped filming, I still had trouble. It wouldn't seat the bead, and it fought me tooth and nail. So, but that's a project I'm glad to have done. So anyway, if you guys like this one, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I got some more stuff going on. The video I was currently editing started, much like this project, aggravating me. So I just went ahead and moved on to this one. Plus figured, nice video with some leaves on the trees and no snow on the ground would help take away some of those winter blues. So catch you later.